Bird to your mother, it's time for another episode of Birds with Friends. Just a trio of feathery brethren weathering any season to see the Eagles eating teams like Scrammy's top with cheese. It's Philadelphia, Bo, Sheil, and Zach kicking it cooler than 3 penguins till Zach runs off with his valet keys. He's a real nuanced goose. Pull up a branch, get loose. It's time for some juice on some
Birds with Friends.
The early bird gets the worm, but prefers getting turned like a turn on some
Birds with Friends.
Bo, Sheil, and Zach coming at you with stats and things flapping their wings.
Statistics, they can be like bathing suits. What they, what.
Finish it up. Sometimes you gotta take them off.
What the hell?
What they show is revealing, but what they conceal is vital, right? So.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Birds with Friends on a Tuesday evening, live on YouTube or delayed in your ears. Bo Wolf, Zach Bourbon, Sheil Kapadia, Marissa Morris, everybody in the house. We got to start off with the big time question. Sheil, how you doing?
Well, I'm doing better than Dimitri, who is viewing from Melbourne. It sounds like where they just had an earthquake. But I mean, this is dedication to the pod, where he apparently, I'm reading through the comments on our YouTube channel, he weathered the quake and is still joining us for Birds with Friends. So hopefully everyone there is doing well and it's okay. As for me, I worked a little magic to get my hands on some film this week. Couldn't go 2 weeks in a row without the all 22. So we'll have some observations there. And then, of course, my favorite sports talk radio segment, the segment that is taking over the country, the world. ZB and the Wolf, man. Wolf and ZB.
ZB and the Wolf.
ZB and the Wolf. So that, everything is really just an appetizer until we get to that segment.
Well, of course, everything is always about me as the protagonist of the world. So when I hear about an earthquake, it reminds me of early on in my tenure with the Eagles. I was hosting Eagles Live, and it was when we had that East Coast earthquake. And so you could see, like, if you watch the video, you could see me just like going side to side, shaking. And I got to say, I kept it pretty cool. I thought that there was like something going on, like on the floor above. So I closed the show and got out of Dodge. Pretty smooth effort. I was proud of.
I was at 400 North Broad Street that day, and we felt a little bit. And then my wife called me, and I was. She still makes fun of me about how nonchalant I was. I'm like, "Why? What are you doing? Why are you calling? I'm working here." She's like, "We just had an earthquake." I'm like, "Yeah, everything's fine. I'll see you later." So I still hear about that one from time to time.
I was at what then was called New Meadowlands Stadium for their introduction.
What a bad name.
For their introduction to, they were showing reporters all the bells and whistles of the stadium was before it officially opened.
And did you think that was like part of the tour?
No, I did not. I actually, if I recall, I didn't feel much. I don't know if up in East Rutherford it had the same reverberation as down here in Philadelphia.
Zach hands out earthquakes. He doesn't absorb earthquakes.
That's right.
All right.
I was going to make a joke about Melbourne that perhaps that was the Ben Simmons news reaching back home, but
that's good.
I certainly don't want to belittle an earthquake.
Now listen, I just did it. I just dipped my toes into it again. I have heard all of the complaints. I'm working on it. I'm trying not to interrupt Zach as much. Okay?
It's okay.
Everybody keeps nailing me about this. And I got to say, the more you do it, the more you make me want to interrupt Zach. Okay? It's just the contrarian in me. So if you want me to stop cutting him off, I'm working on it. I'm trying to be better. Don't tell me about it anymore.
I would disagree with that. As Zach, I know what Zach's line was on Sunday night in the post-game pod. Tolerance is ambiguity. What was that? I don't know. It was something.
You get what you tolerate.
Yeah, you get what you tolerate. And so I see the wheel spinning now during the podcast where Bo is thinking about it when he is about to interrupt. So, go ahead and keep reminding him, let him know. And Zach, I like you turning the table on Bo and interrupting him during the post-game pod. So things are going well here. All right, can we get to some Eagle stuff?
I'll just say real quick, one of the things that I like, I should say one of the many things I like about this podcast is that it's not like you're prototypical pregame show where this person gets 30 seconds, this person gets 30. It should be conversational, right? So if you're talking to someone, you would interrupt them if you have a point sometimes. So I don't mind it, and I don't see why the commenters object to it so much. But I appreciate them listening and viewing.
Big Zach is really coming at me on all angles on social media, so I'm paying attention. I got it. I got the message. For him
unbelievable.
What a week! All right, well let's speaking of what a week, let's send it over to the Stone Cold Newsman for the latest on what is going on with the Birds.
Brandon Graham is officially out for the season. He ruptured his Achilles tendon. He went on injured reserve today. Brandon Brooks has a strained pectoral, so relative to what it could have been, it's I don't want to say good news, but it's not the worst case scenario for the Eagles. He's expected to be back this season. Will miss a few weeks when on injured reserve. Zach Ertz was put on the COVID-19 reserve list. So his status at this point is in question. We'll find out more as this week progresses. The Eagles signed Jack Anderson, the 7th-round pick from Texas Tech, off of the Buffalo Bills practice squad. He is an offensive lineman. He takes one of the 3 open roster spots. Of course, the 3 spots are because Brooks and Graham are on IR, and there's a roster exemption while Ertz is on the COVID-19 reserve list. The Eagles also signed Bo's old friend Richard Rodgers to the practice squad.
He
returns. And Harry Kreider, who is Sheil's favorite player, he returns to the practice squad as well. So that's the Eagles on the 2s. And back to you, Bo.
Good stuff.
This guy's on a heater.
It's the season of Zach. There's no doubt about it. All right, let's talk the 2 injuries before we get to the review of the game. Brandon Graham, we talked about it a little bit on the post-game show, but you miss his presence on the field and in the locker room. But like in terms of the way the team is built, they should be able to cobble together something resembling close to the level that they had with him, whether that is Josh Sweat playing more on the left side, whether that is Milton Williams over there. Ryan Kerrigan has been bad, but that's fine. You furrow your brow?
How are they cobbling together Milton Williams and Ryan Kerrigan? I mean, what are the words coming out of your mouth?
You're fair. You're right. He was the best player. He's the reigning Chicken Defensive Player of the Year. Yeah.
By the way, you could see it on the Jermichael Hasty run there. Who was playing DN there? Teron Jackson?
I don't know.
Getting housed by a fullback. When's the last time?
Teron Jackson was getting blown off the ball and run.
Would throw Kyle Juszczyk, and it is Juszczyk. I mean, Marissa, thank you for coming through. I was embarrassed for the pod there until you.
I thought I said it was Juszczyk, no?
Yeah, I mean, you two were very, very confused there. But, Brandon Graham would be throwing Kyle Juszczyk into the 3rd row. And so, and especially with the way Jonathan Gannon is rotating these guys, like if this was a team where the defensive ends played 80% of the snaps or 90% of the snaps, like some teams, then you could just say, all right, Barnett on one side, Sweat on the other side. With the way they're rotating, I mean, I'm very interested to see just next week, like we could probably look at the number of snaps where it would have been great to have Brandon Graham on the field. So I would say that you are, I don't know.
You're right.
Atlanta's
I deserve
wearing
to be
off
called
or
on
what's
that,
going on. Okay. So, I think I hear what you're saying. If you just look at the depth chart, you say, all right, they had 3 defensive ends. You can only play 2 at a time. Now they have 2. They're fine. But I think when you zoom out a little bit, it is an issue.
Well, they've also only, they're playing different positions really, which we didn't talk about on the post-game pod. Like, in the base defense, Brandon Graham has been on the line of scrimmage when they've had 3 down linemen, right? He's been that sort of, end defensive lineman, and that has not, like Josh Sweat and Derek Barnett have not gotten reps there. They've only been stand-up guys. So that's why I think it's going to be more Milton Williams filling in than it's going to be Josh Sweat to some degree. That said, like maybe that just means they play more 4 down linemen and they let Sweat and Barnett both be on the field at the same time.
Yeah, I kind of just want to see the snap counts at the end of the next game. That's sort of what matters. It doesn't totally matter who is going to lineup where, well, I shouldn't say that. It does matter because of what I just mentioned there in terms of Teron Jackson and whoever's playing there when they go against the run. But yeah, I mean, Sweat and Barnett are going to see a bump up in snaps. Someone else is going to have to see a bump up in snaps and play well.
And then Josh Sweat $40 million. Play him. That's simple.
Yeah, I mean, Bo, you said, and I think, Bo, you said during the post-game pods, now's the time for, Josh Sweat to step up. Have I taught you nothing? No.
Yeah, cash those checks.
Yeah, cash those checks. The time to step up.
Wait 3 years. 3 years.
Yeah, the time to step up was before you cash those checks. Listen, the money is still going in the bank account, whether he plays like crap or whether he plays well. So now is not the time to step up. He stepped up the time to step up.
Well, a week ago was the time to step up. I mean, if he had 5 sacks in the opener, all of a sudden, that those contract terms are moving up a little bit. Okay, other side of the ball. A little bit weird. Did you think it was weird, Zach, that Nick Sirianni did not just say that Landon Dickerson is going to be the starting right guard with Brandon Brooks out?
No, I did not think it was weird. Nick Sirianni, who is forthcoming about some stuff in that if you ask him, why didn't Josh Sweat play as many snaps as we expected, he'll give like the football reasons why Josh Sweat didn't play as many snaps as we expected. But he is not forthcoming as far as like lineup decisions and who's playing where, who's starting where.
I can't get into that. That's scheme.
So the way I will frame it is that Landon Dickerson was the first guy up on a week when it was his first time as a full participant in practice, right? He had like 3 full practices and was the first guy up when Brooks went down. Now that they have a full week to prepare, I can't imagine Jeff Stoutland's going to be like, let's actually go with Nate Herbig, right? So, yeah, Landon Dickerson,
would be insane.
For all intents and purposes, is the guard.
We'll get to that during the All-22 segment.
All right. Well, let's get into it. Let's talk offense.
I'm not drinking a beer, by the way. I'm drinking an unsweetened green tea. The 4 of us have been struggling a little bit. And so Marissa was pouring a coffee when she signed on. This is about the 17th podcast she's produced today. And I'm sure she still has hours of work after this. And Bo was yawning like the second.
I got a water here in my medieval times cup.
Well, in Bo's defense, he's done 4 podcasts today. Sheil.
Oh yeah, what a flex that was, Zach. Yeah. So what were the other 3 podcasts? Yeah, Bo, for as Zach is referencing before he came on, he's like, I don't want to flex, but this is my 4th podcast of the day. So of course we have to ask
I just want to do my work.
What were the other 3 podcasts? That is your work. What do you mean?
I know, but
that's your job.
I know, that's why I'm doing it. I want to help people out. But
you charge $50 a pod?
Yeah, how about that? How about that lunatic? That garbanzo beans guy.
I would be fine with the 3 of us signing off and just letting Zach go for an hour. I mean, this guy this is fantastic. All right, Bo. So what other podcasts were you on?
Well, I just had the pleasure of talking to our dear friend, Kent Garrison. For the Cowboys podcast. Our
love that
listeners, of course, will remember Kent. I did the Bird Gang 31 or 13.
Okay.
Now I was the sloppy seconds to Zach there. I believe Zach did that podcast last week. So there you go. And then Brandon Deeg. Yeah, he said you did it. He said you did it bright and early last time.
6:30 a.m. man.
6:30 a.m. And he's Central Time too. You had him do it at 5:30 in the morning.
He got up at 5:30. Yeah,
all
I
right.
respect it. I respect it. Anyone who has a podcast, if you're willing to get up early, I'll be your guest. Okay?
Yeah.
Be our guest. Be our guest.
All right.
That's what I thought of too.
So there you go.
All right.
All right, let's talk offense, Sheil. My impressions after rewatching the game. Now, I did not get the black market all 22 like you did, but just in the flow of the game, I was not as down on the performance as I was live on Sunday. I mean, they did move the ball pretty consistently. They just didn't finish. I don't know what were your takeaways?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that usually I hate the we just play here or play there. We just miss some opportunities. Like, yeah, I mean, I probably railed on that on this podcast after half the times we've done a post-game pod after a loss. But I can kind of see it in this game, how close it was, how conservative the 49ers were on offense. I mean, you guys covered a lot of the big plays, of course, but even the first possession, the shot play to Devontae Smith, I thought you guys nailed it after the pod, even after having seen it live. It's just, I felt like if that ball would have come out sooner, Devontae Smith definitely had a step there. And so I like the call to be aggressive and, that would have been a 40, 50-yard touchdown at the time. And so it's not that Jalen Hurts can't throw the deep ball. I mean, I don't know if people are having conversations about arm strength or whatever. I don't see that as the case at all. It's like a matter of timing, how much air you put under the ball, touch. I would say more often than not, he does a pretty good job with those things. Not everyone's going to be perfect. You're not going to hit on everyone, but that was certainly one missed opportunity. The Rager one, that one's just like crushing. Like it just feels, Zach has made the good Aguilar analogy before, where it just feels like, something goes wrong here and there that separate, and you can kind of see the talent and say, all right, if this just would have happened, like, if he would have caught that touchdown, like our whole conversation's different about him. Maybe they win the game. I mean, that was such a huge play. It was a great throw. They're dialing his number. It's just one-on-one on the outside, but he gets, he kind of takes it wide. I don't know if he felt like the contact pushed him wide or if he took it wide himself, and he steps out of bounds there and doesn't give himself enough room. So that, of course, was a huge play. They have a 1st and goal from the 1. You have 4 plays, 1st and goal from the 1, and you don't score. My big takeaway on that, and Zach, you talked about this, I think, a little bit after in the post-game pod. Like, let's start using the quarterback and getting aggressive, getting creative with how you use the quarterback. Like you're wasting him here. If you're just using him on an occasional zone read, or you're using him to scramble, or, they had the one speed option, but like run QB power, run a QB snap. I mean, really, if you're 1st and goal from the 1, I mean, what does Jalen Hurts squat? What is like the number? I mean, who has
whatever it is? It's like 2 pounds fewer than Zach.
Right. What quarterback has a stronger lower body than Jalen Hurts? Like, why are
totally agree?
And you have a veteran center. Why are you not just running a QB sneak with him there? That's one of those things. Like, I feel like if you practice it, like we see bad quarterbacks running QB sneaks very well. It's not really like a talent thing. It seems like if you have someone who can teach it, of course, they ran them with Carson Wentz. Like, that's a go-to play that cuts out so many variables. You don't have to get creative with it in short yardage. So that's a little baffling to me. I want to see them get more creative with Jalen Hurts in the run game. I think feel like it could really help them get some easy yards. It could help them in short yardage. It could help them in the red zone. Like they had the 3rd and 1, and they're going 13 personnel.
Yes.
Under center, Jalen Hurts handing the ball off. Like, come on, what are you doing? Unless that's a fake handoff and he's sneaking out the backside on like a bootleg where he's just running. He should at least be a threat on all those plays. Even the 3rd and 6 run to Miles Sanders on the first possession. That to me, there should be some other. I don't want to see runs that are just straight runs. Like when you have him, give me an RPO, give me a read element to it, give me something where the defense has to think about what's going to happen if he keeps the ball here.
I agree, although that 3rd and 6 was maddening, because if Miles Sanders just follows Jordan Mailata, he's going to get the first down and more, it looked like to me. Is that what it looked like on the All-22?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like the zone runs and stuff, I probably defended Miles Sanders and said let the running back use his creativity, but that one, there isn't really like an option there. Yeah, you're just supposed to go to one.
You got the big fella pulling across, like let him pave the way, dude.
Either it works or it doesn't. But again, I'm not thrilled about that call. A 3rd and 6.
Yeah, I agree.
Gap run. Now, I think they probably would have gone for it on 4th. If you're calling that, you're probably going for it if you pick up 3 yards or something on 4th down. But I didn't love that. So that was just one of my big takeaways. Week 1, we talked about all the easy yards they were able to scheme up in the passing game. And I just feel like another way to do that and to convert some of these high leverage situations is to just get more creative with using Jalen Hurts as a runner.
Well, so somebody mentioned. Sorry, go ahead, Zach.
My theory or logic on this, I saw must have been a week and a half ago, our Browns writer, Zach Jackson, he had a tweet that, Kevin Stefanski, he was asked about his play calling influences, and he said he played a lot of Madden growing up, right? Like if you're at
in the Philly
goal
area,
line, that's true. Delco, actually, if you are if you're first and goal at the 1 in Madden, right? What plays are you calling, right? And you have a mobile quarterback. It's not. There's no need to overcomplicate it, right? I understand coaching in real life is different than Madden, but my point is like you're probably either sneaking or you're rolling out the quarterback. You're doing plays that will give you options to score at a high rate.
Well, I'm old, so I was playing Madden, 92 or 93. So I'm not kidding. The first thing that popped in my head when you mentioned that was I'm handing it to 41 Keith Byers, and he, him and Madden, like he's not getting taken down by the first defender. So he's definitely getting in from the 1 yard line. But I agree. It's also an analytically, it's an analytically supported, right? The QB sneaks, running in short yardage. Those are all sort of ideas that have been accepted by the analytics community. So you would think from the top down, they'd be like, yeah, go ahead and do that. It's
especially in the middle of the field. Like why let it be Jalen Hurts making the defense make a choice when you at least have the threat of a pass. Like down on the 1, it's always going to be a little bit congested. It's a little bit tougher, but like that 3rd and 1 that you talked about when they got stuffed in 13 personnel and then the field goal gets blocked, like spread them out and give Jalen Hurts an option. Like there's a good chance he's going to pick it up. You mentioned Kevin Stefanski, Zach, and you just got to think about like poor Joe Judge. The guy, his whole life has been about trying to make up for the fact that he lost that quarterback competition to Kevin Stefanski in high school. He has to transfer, he sets himself on a path for the rest of his life, only for the same guy who beat him out to be hired as a head coach at the same time. You think he's hit the pinnacle, and now already the other guys are really good head coach, and Joe Judge is about to be fired within a couple of years. Like, the poor guy is just like, no matter how good he is, he'll never be as good as the one guy who's always going to be better than him.
Well, I wouldn't frame it like that, but when you have a Penn education, you can be doing a lot of different things other than coaching football. So Kevin Stefanski is gracing us.
Where did Joe Judge go to college?
Mississippi State.
Oh, okay, wow, Bulldogs.
You're gonna throw like. There's not a lot you can do with that. I thought that was going to be your follow-up.
No, I'm not. I went to state school. That's the Wake Forest line. Whatever you guys say about NC State, that's not me.
Okay. Elsewhere on the offense, what jumped out to you? I guess. Well, you were teasing about to throw Landon Dickerson under the bus. Let's hear your review of the second rounder.
Well, I think it's understandable that he wouldn't play well. That it was a tough situation, but I don't think he didn't play well. I didn't
think he played badly.
Oh,
you think it was bad? I mean, he missed. It seemed to me like it was like knowledge of who he was supposed to have a couple times. He missed guys. He looked good in the run game to me. He was moving people.
I'm terrible at like if you've ever been next to me at a training camp practice and a reporter comes over and says like, oh,
Did you see who caught that?
No, not that. Come on, that I'm fine.
All right.
Jeez, I was doing observations while you were in diapers.
I know. But once you're the national guy, you're
no. What I'm terrible at is if somebody says like, does this guy look like he's put on some muscle or put on some pounds, or this guy here looks like he's moving a little quicker from last year. Sheil, what do you like? I'm like,
there are some guys who love weight talk, who love like, how much have you gained? Yeah. Like what weight are you playing at? And that stuff to me is like, it doesn't even cross my radar.
I don't mind a weight talk.
I like a story about how you put on or lost weight. I know that's up your wheelhouse, but if Fletcher Cox is playing at 375.
Well, that would be a story.
That would be a story.
Yes. He was playing at 375. So, but when I was watching, it felt like he was. Is Landon Dickerson a great athlete? I mean, I don't know.
Well, everybody talks about how flexible he is. He's like incredibly flexible.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was into martial arts growing up, and then if you saw at the pro day when Mac Jones was doing his interview, he gained a lot of attention for doing backflips.
Oh, okay.
So he's for a 325 pound, 6'6", 325 pound man. He's I don't know. Can Michael Dunn do backflips? Is that
He can do
on the
everything.
spot? Good answer. Yeah, good answer. I'm sorry, it wasn't backflips. It was cartwheels.
It was cartwheels. Yeah.
Yeah, not backflips.
I've never been able
Sorry
to do a
about that.
cartwheel, yo.
I
I
would
like a
pull a hammy
proper
if I did
cartwheel.
one now.
But when you were
Wait, you
younger,
would pull a
you could-
hammy? What?
Oh, I could do lots of cartwheels, round offs. I was actually pretty athletic as a kid, but if I did one now, I would be on the
I feel like the
injured
wrist.
reserve.
Yeah, it could injure the wrist. I feel like.
No, it would hurt my hamstring. That's what.
Oh,
But you're
really?
just. How would it hurt
Yeah.
your hamstring? You're just toppling over on the
Yeah,
hammy.
Right.
it doesn't put a lot of pressure on the hamstring. It does.
No.
Oh,
Yes.
Huh.
Only I guess we're not doing it right.
All right,
That's what we're not
everyone,
doing it
set
right.
it up in front of the camera. Let's go.
Yep.
Hashtag
we need Michael
Wheels,
Dunn in the
cartwheels.
background to say hut hut yellow snow, and then we need Marissa doing a cartwheel.
So I thought Landon Dickerson. I don't know. It felt like the quickness, like guys were just sort of going. Now that could be a situation where mentally he wasn't sure. I mean, he's coming in. He's played 3 practices, right? He's coming in a game. He's not expecting to. So I'm not writing off Landon Dickerson. I'm just saying if you showed me this guard in this game and asked how did he play, I would say he did not play very well, and it seemed like he wasn't moving great. I mean, he's still coming off the knee injury, so that certainly could be part of it. I mean, there were two, I'm trying to look here at my notes. Yeah, their final or their 6th and 7th possessions, their 6th possession, he got smoked on 3rd down by Arden Key, and Jalen Hurts gets hit.
Arden Key was all over the place in this game
as he throws incomplete. So, that's a pretty big play. It was sort of the game in the balance. It's 3rd down and he gets beat there. And then
I'm sorry. Were you talking about that 3rd and 2?
I don't know what the distance was. It was 3rd down on their 6th possession. Ended in a punt. Okay. And then their next one, Dickerson and Kelsey on like a, they didn't handle a stunt very well there. And Joey Bosa kind of, pushed Mailata back a little bit, and Jalen Hurts takes the sack there. And that ends a drive. So, those are two drives in the 4th quarter where it seemed like he had.
That one was brutal. It was a 4-man pass rush, and it looked like every offensive lineman lost.
Yes, it collapsed right
away.
Yeah,
and it was a huge play. Yeah.
Even the throw to Quez Watkins from the end zone. I mean, if you watch that one, Landon Dickerson gets shoved right back into Jalen Hurts' face. I think Hurts went down on the play there, and so that was get shoved to the ground. That was against Eric Armstead, who's a very good player, but still, I mean, if he doesn't get rid of the ball there, that's a bad play. I would agree the run game was better. It was more in pass pro, and who knows? Hopefully he could come out on Monday night and play really well. That's just sort of evaluating what it seemed to me, who is someone who is not an offensive line expert, what it looked like on Sunday.
Zach, you got any questions for National Man?
Well, you addressed the Jalen Hurts part of it. One thing that I'm really paying attention to when I rewatched was the lack of involvement overall by the wide receivers. And I know they didn't have a lot of volume to begin with in the passing game. Like Bo mentioned on the podcast, it seemed on the postgame pod, it seemed the 3rd quarter the offense was never on the field. But if I'm Shane Steichen or I'm Kevin Patullo and you're Nick Sirianni, and we're sitting there Monday morning and we're looking at the stat sheet and we're saying, how weren't our wide receivers more involved in this? What was your takeaway?
Or the tight ends.
Or the tight ends, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a very valid question with the wide receivers. I mean, one of my notes was like, we should probably pump the brakes on the wide receivers a little bit. I mean, you're going up against Josh Norman, who didn't have a job 2 weeks ago. And sorry, Bo, pronounce the guy's name again for me.
Diamador Lenoir.
I should learn his name because I thought he played, other than the Quez
he did.
bomb.
Yeah,
I thought he played really well, actually.
The Josh Norman thing is funny. I was talking to this is a real flex. in the press box. In the press box, I was talking to Mike Quick before the game, and we were just talking about the matchup. I was like, "Yeah, Josh Norman's out there, like he's ready to get toasted," and he's like, "Hold on a second, like Josh Norman's a pro, like he knows what he's doing. This is no like he's no Wacko. This is like the guy's been on the street, but maybe he was waiting for an opportunity, like." He knows, he knows what he's doing out there. Like,
it's pretty interesting you bring that up because not the Mike Quick part of it. That was a good flex. The Josh Norman part of it. I didn't talk to Josh Norman obviously, but we spent post draft saying Devontae Smith's weight's not a big deal. That kind of, we've always saw him get open.
Yeah.
It seemed like Josh Norman's approach was to try to bully him, right? Like he was willing to get flagged. He got flagged twice for pass interference, but it seemed like Josh Norman was like, all right, my approach this game is like I'm gonna be real handsy. I'm gonna be grabby. I'm gonna push him. I'm gonna bump him. If he gets open, he's gonna have to earn it. And I don't think like Devontae Smith was exposed or anything like that, but it is something that I'm curious if other corners try this approach against him.
There were definitely plays where I'm like pausing it and being like, all right, I would think somebody would be open and separate by now. And they didn't. So there were definitely those moments for sure. Smith, it's a hard game to evaluate. If I thought there were 2 deep ball, I think he got 3 deep ball opportunities, right? I know there were at least 2 where I felt like if Hurts got rid of I thought there were 2 where he had a step, and if Hurts gets rid of the ball earlier, then maybe he has a big play. If he catches both of them, then we're saying, wow, Devontae Smith dominated that game. So
it was 3. It was 3.
Okay.
I think it was 3 for him, 2 for Rager, 2 for Quest.
Yeah, there was 1 I didn't think had a shot, but there were the other 2 I thought did have a shot. I think I've mentioned this take before where it sucks to play wide receiver in the NFL. I mean, you're totally dependent on the quarterback. You're getting, a handful of opportunity. You play the whole game and get like 5 balls thrown your way. If you're lucky, stuff could go wrong on those plays, which we saw. So nothing to be like overly concerned about, but I mean, you can tell the Eagles coaches thought that their wide receivers could dominate that game, right?
That was the game plan.
That was the game plan, and they didn't. They're whether it was partially due to pressure, partially due to Hurts not playing great, or due to them not separating and getting open, that did not work. Now, Quez Watkins. Now, what percentage of snaps did Quez Watkins play?
I don't know that he played 10 fewer snaps than Rager. That's the thing that I remember. But
yeah, I mean, just in terms of separating, like if you just looked at that game, you might say Quez Watkins has the ability to do that better than anybody else they have. So it feels like, given his big playability, I mean, he just runs by a guy.
I'd like to see him on the field.
The answer is 50% of the snaps, 29 snaps.
Okay.
So for all the wide receivers, Devontae Smith 49 snaps, 84%. Jalen Rager 42 snaps, 72%. Watkins 29, 50%. Greg Ward 21 snaps, 36%.
Okay. I mean, Watkins had 2 explosive plays when he was on the field, and they were both legit. One, he runs by a guy. Second one, he separates, the cornerback falls down on that play. And so I would certainly like to see more.
I was actually curious about that play because you can't tell on the broadcast what happened on the play. I didn't know if it was like a fully schemed up play or if he had won. So
no, I think it was one-on-one man coverage. And I mean, I don't know if we should credit him or not for the corner falling down,
right.
But the corner did fall down. So he was wide open on like a deep out or whatever it was on the right side. All right.
Okay. I mean, what did you, I guess the only other question is like big picture, like the entire game plan was completely different from week 1. What did you make of the plan that Sirianni had?
Well,
do they know who they are?
Did you guys watch the Peyton Eli, any of that on Monday night?
I want to talk about this.
It sort of ties in.
It's so much better than, it's really good.
Great.
I don't even like.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to have trouble watching a regular announcing crew after watching it. I think it's really entertaining. My only issue is I don't know if it's just how my brain works, but I'm looking at them as they talk, and so I'm just missing the game because
I wouldn't watch it I wouldn't watch it for an Eagles game. Like I wouldn't watch it for the game that I care about. But it's
you'll probably watch it out. I bet you would record it and watch it.
I might do that.
There's a lot of stuff you can pick up on, like you're teaching, and I feel like it's the perfect amount of football like they hit the X's and O's at the perfect level for me. Like I'm like, all right, 2 deep safeties. I know that they're not going overboard where I'm going, all right, what are they talking about here? So I'm sure that's something that they have to sort of weigh. But I mean, their big thing, Peyton Manning was just harping on it throughout the first half. His big point was, all right, the Lions are playing with 2 deep safeties and the Packers have to be patient and just run the ball, which is the sort of old school approach. And I don't know if it's even old school, but that's like the way people think of, all right, when the other team's playing 2 deep safeties, run the ball. That was a lot of this game for me, especially in the first half. I mean, the 49ers are playing a lot of 2 deep looks on early downs. And so I was thinking some of those gimme throw, the layups we talked about last week with the bubble screens and the RPOs, I feel like those were just run plays in this game. So yes, it was different, but maybe not, like I feel like they looked at those layups saying we can run the ball on these guys and pound it on early downs here. So it certainly was different. We'll see what they look like this upcoming week. It's kind of hard to be that different, I think, probably week to week. But I don't think it was like a terrible plan. The 49ers were banged up at cornerback. You feel good about your wide receivers. You probably felt like you were not going to hold, your defense is not going to hold them maybe as much as they ended up holding them. You might have thought that you were going to have to score some more points in this game, but that didn't happen. So I wasn't like, what are they, throwing papers in the air going, what are they doing? This is ridiculous.
Stuff was there. Like,
yeah, there were some plays to be made, I thought.
And like, as you said, like, maybe it's silly to say like a couple plays here, a couple plays there, but if the script of that game changes, like, and they're up a touchdown or 10 points, like, then the 49ers all of a sudden maybe have to get away from their game plan a little bit, and the
which
game
would have
changes.
been really interesting. I was thinking it would have been nice to see. I wanted to see how the Eagles would have played if the 49ers had to do something, because I mean, talk about a conservative offense. I mean, they threw, their Garoppolo's average. Yeah, I guess we can just get to that. I don't really have. Well, I will say
that's after. We got to save the defense for later.
Okay. Well, the one take I thought you had that was kind of nuts was that Sirianni was pandering to the Eagles fans with the Philly special. Yeah, I mean, I know he's wearing the T-shirts and stuff, but I think he's pretty focused on like what play can help us score here. I mean, maybe he thought it would be cool in first game, but I don't know. I thought that was a little.
Oh,
overboard.
I disagree.
Like, I don't think he was. Okay.
I 100% think that's what was going on there. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
My other thing on the Manning broadcast, now a lot of hate for Eli in the chat, which obviously makes sense from Eagles fans, and I'm no Eli fan, but he's been a rival for decades. I know you love him, but Eagles fans aren't wired to want to see Eli Manning every night. But he's pretty funny, and it's like the sibling rivalry where Peyton is like very smart and Eli's like just sort of hoping to be able to keep up with him is kind of funny. But my other takeaway was, did you guys watch the Favre segment?
Yeah.
Yes.
Boy, is there a guy? Is that a guy who has no idea what's going on the football field? And it was so funny just to think about, like, what is the speech that this dunce gave to the Eagles the night before the Super Bowl? I can't believe that worked.
It worked.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was just is it a clip or did he mention it where he didn't even know what like nickel was? What
coverage were they playing there? Like, I don't know, Brett. You tell me.
Well, I mean, the least you can do if you're going to go on there is watch the first half. I mean, come on. He had it. He literally had not.
I know. He said, I was trying to figure it out. I was trying to figure this out. All right, Brett.
Well, that's the famous. I was going to say scene, but it's the scene in the book of Moneyball where Billy Beane and Lenny Dykstra are teammates, and Lenny Dykstra has like no idea who the pitcher is. He has no idea what's going on, and like Billy Beane is overthinking everything, right? So. Look, Brett Favre, it clearly worked. He was an outstanding player. So now I'll say this about Eli Manning. Okay. I've said to you guys, like,
no matter what happened the week before, he was there at his locker every Tuesday.
No, that has nothing. I'm not mentioning that. I'm not mentioning that at all. Okay. He was beloved as a teammate, right? Like he was, for all the crap that he got publicly, like, his teammates would go to bat for that guy all the time. Like he was really respected and liked in that locker room. And I think when you see this, like you can see his personality relative. It's the reason why his nickname's Easy, right? It's a very easygoing personality.
I had no idea that was his nickname, first of all.
Oh, you didn't know that? Okay.
No,
Okay.
but I would agree. I think you can sort of see that. I find him very likable in the broadcast, and I don't know that Bo. I don't know that he's like totally trying to keep up with Peyton. Like, I don't know. I don't think he was like a dumb quarterback.
No,
I
but
think he
it's a
just tries to
different
be
level.
less polished. Like, he doesn't want to host the thing, but you almost need him to make it a little more entertaining, because I thought Peyton's making like the sort of a lot of the same points over and over again. And, he slips into sometimes where he's making a little too broadcastery. And I thought Eli brought it back. Okay. So I enjoyed it. You learn stuff during it, and you're entertained.
I agree. All right, let's take a little break to hear from our sponsors.
The one thing I loved, hold on. The one football point I loved was they said when you run play action and then a screen, like a play action, sometimes they do the jet motion and do like a double play action. Peyton was saying you don't want to make the fake too good, because you actually don't want the defenders to come up, because if they come up and think it's run, then they're going to be right there and tackle the screen.
That's interesting.
Like stuff like that. I would never hear anybody talking about that. So
that's
anyway.
Good. That very briefly reminds me, we don't have to talk about this now, but something to watch. Not a lot of motion in this offense, especially compared to the rest of the league. Just something to pay attention to as the season goes on. All right. A little break from our sponsors on the other side.
Bo's out.
Okay. I was afraid it was me.
Well,
me too.
Oh, I said we're going to go to our sponsors, and on the other side, the return of ZB and the Wolf. You guys remember Ernest Wilford? Went to Virginia Tech. Big old wide receiver. Moved to tight end eventually with the Jaguars. Well, I'm here today to talk to you about a different Ernest. With today's low interest rates, it's a great time to refinance your student loans. Ernest offers low-rate student loan refinancing, and you can check your rate risk-free in just 2 minutes. With Ernest, you get radically flexible payments, and you can pick your loan term. By refinancing, you can reduce your loan term, save money, or combine multiple loans into a simple monthly payment. And if you have questions, you can even talk to a real live human at Ernest for help. I do not believe it will be Ernest Wilford. Isn't it time to stop feeling overwhelmed by your student debt? Ernest is offering our listeners a $100 cash bonus. Refinance your student debt at earnest.com/birds. Terms and conditions apply. Now, Ernest is giving our listeners a $100 bonus. Refinance your student loans at earnest.com/birds. Terms and conditions apply. One more time for the people in the back. You get a $100 cash bonus when you visit earnest.com/birds to refinance your student loans. Not available in all states. Terms and conditions apply.
Earnest Student Loan Refinancing made by Earnest Operations, LLC, NMLS number 1204917, California Financing Law, license number 6054788, 535 Mission Street, San Francisco, California, 94105. Visit earnest.com/licenses for a full list of licenses.
After years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless providers, if we have learned anything, it's that unlike when J.J. Arcega-Whiteside runs a route, there's always a catch. So when I heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month, I thought, what's the catch? There isn't one, it turns out. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they're the first company to sell wireless service online only. By cutting out retail stores, there's no crazy overhead costs that get passed down to you in the form of mystery fees. Instead, Mint just passes on sweet savings direct to you. For people looking for extra savings, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. All plans come with unlimited talk and text and high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with all your existing contacts. And if you're not 100% satisfied, Mint Mobile has you covered with their 7-day money-back guarantee. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/birds. That's mintmobile.com/birds. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month. at mintmobile.com/birds. You're listening to ZB and the Wolf on WBWF Sports Radio 6969, where it's not about the calls, it's about the... Welcome back to ZB and the Wolf, the show that makes you go, "Ow!" Hit us up on the Chips Chip poll question to let us know which NFL head coach you would like to inject with ivermectin chips. They're good for a year. All right, ZB, it's everybody's favorite time of the week. It's time to bring in one of our favorite guests, talk a little bit National Football League. You know him, you love him. Sheil Kapadia from The Athletic. Sheil, how's it going in your neck of the woods?
Going well, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Sheil, I got to start. I know that the Chargers have been your team throughout this entire summer, throughout the preseason. You are leading that charge. What do you say? How do you explain the egg that they laid against America's team?
Well, I don't know that they laid an egg, Wolfman. I mean, I don't know if you got around to watching that game or not. I think the Chargers, those were two evenly matched offenses for the most part. The Chargers get called for 12 penalties for 99 yards. They have 2 touchdowns taken off the board because of penalties. They have a 32-yard completion taken off the board because of a penalty. And then I don't know if you guys saw this, but there was one of the worst calls, maybe the worst call of the weekend in that game. Justin Herbert, they're driving to try to score a touchdown. He starts backpedaling. He's stiff-arming Cowboys defensive end now, Micah Parsons, and the refs blow the whistle and call it a sack. I mean, that should have been an incomplete pass. That should not have been a sack. They moved back 18 yards where I think they were inside the 10 at the time. They have to settle for a field goal there. So, it was a game that didn't go their way. I know Chargers fans are sick of hearing that, but I thought Justin Herbert was very, very good in that game. The guy makes throws that make me cackle every single week. And so I think that Chargers team is going to be just fine.
Sheil. My producer sent me your article. I didn't understand it. I'm reading Lamar Jackson. You're using some term called EPA. I'm thinking, when did he become the middle reliever on the Orioles, Wolfman? I go with something called the eye test. Ever heard of that? I was watching this game and I'm conflicted because Lamar Jackson, he ran the ball, which I like. Back in my day when I played high school football, my coach told me 3 things can happen when you throw the ball. 2 of them are bad. But he ran the ball on 4th down. 4th down's supposed to be for punting. This Harbaugh coach, he used to coach special teams. He should know the importance of field position. Anyway, what did you think of Harbaugh's decision-making, the way Lamar Jackson played? Sheil, Ravens, your thoughts.
Yeah, I think I was on with you guys a couple of years ago when I wrote that article about the Ravens and their analytics department and how you're not going to like this, ZB, but John Harbaugh's got a guy in his headset every week, I believe a Yale graduate, who's telling him sort of the probabilities, what to do, when to kick, when to punt, all those things. And so a lot was made of that in this game. To me, you don't need the analytics. Let me explain it to just a football guy like yourself, ZB. If you're in that situation, you've got the game on the line. Would you rather gamble on Lamar Jackson and that run game picking up 1 yard when they had been gashing the Chiefs all game long? Or would you rather gamble on your defense stopping Patrick Mahomes, the best player on the planet, when he's retired, when all is said and done, could be the best player we've ever seen during our lifetime? So to me, it was a simple decision that did not require any math. It was fun to see John Harbaugh ask Lamar Jackson, do you want to go for this? I mean, we all know John Harbaugh said afterwards, of course, he was going to go for it regardless. And what quarterback doesn't want to go for it? But you know what? I'm all for empowering your players. What was really interesting about this is if you watch the locker room scene for the Ravens after that game, and where John Harbaugh was explaining, when that moment came up, he's looking around. The D-line coach is saying, go for it. The linebackers are saying, go for it. Backup offensive linemen are saying, go for it. I know we talked about this during that Eagles Super Bowl run. You get a culture of the team wanting to be aggressive where it's not the end of the world. If you don't get plays like that, you know what? It's going to end up in your favor more often than not. I loved seeing that out of the Ravens. That was the signature win of the weekend. When you talk about how banged up they were going into that game, short week, coming back from Las Vegas. There's so many coaches love to make excuses in this league. They didn't make excuses. They went out, they rallied from an 11-point deficit. Just a fantastic win for the Ravens.
Sheil, you gotta excuse my partner. He's been through one too many Oklahoma drills. Now I'm gonna needle him a little bit here because he knows this is coming. He was a big Adam Gase fan, as big as it gets. Thought he was the next rising star in the head coaching circles. Okay. Now, in Carolina, we see Sam Darnold, just after Ryan Tannehill did it once before, looking like maybe all it takes is getting away from Adam Gase, and that's all you need to be a good quarterback. Carolina Panthers, are they for real?
Well, your Adam Gase point is a good one, Wolfman. I mean, I think if you were with Adam Gase and left, you might turn into the best looking guy I've ever seen. I don't know. That's the effect we're seeing.
I'm already the best looking guy you've ever seen. That's why I'm on radio, baby.
with their face made for radio, as they say. I'm with you there. You see it across the league. I mean, it really is uncanny, whether it's Robbie Anderson, Ryan Tannehill, Kenyon Drake. I mean, the list probably goes on and on and on. Now, is Sam Darnold for real? Let's pump the brakes a little bit there, okay? They're doing some very smart things in Carolina in terms of putting him in position to succeed, whether it's play action, whether it's some of their concepts to get guys open against man coverage. They've got very good skill position players, of course. Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson. Now, they didn't put on a show or anything offensively, as far as I'm concerned, last week against the New Orleans Saints. It was a big win. They deserve credit. I actually like their defense more than their offense, but Sam Darnold throws sort of a head-scratching interception there in the second half, lets the Saints back in it for a little bit. There was at least one other throw that could have been picked off there. So I think when Darnold is playing within the structure of the offense, knows where to go with the ball, he can make all of the throws, and he did do that in that game. I think when things break down a little bit and we have to see if that offensive line is going to hold up, that's when I get a little bit concerned about his decision-making. So they've got to be thrilled about the 2-0 start, but I'm not going all in on Sam Darnold and the Carolina Panthers just yet.
This question is brought to you by Bo Knows Awards. The Emmys were last night. You might want an award presentation for your kid's soccer team or to recognize the top performers at your office. You probably don't know where to turn. Bo Knows. At Bo Knows Awards, they'll plan the event. They'll write personalized lyrics. They'll even provide guest entertainment. Try it now at Bo Knows Awards, the award presentation you did not know you need. So Mike Zimmer, my kind of guy. I bet he doesn't know ERA or PEA, whatever it is you use, but PDA. My producer said, there you go, Bowman or Wolfman. My producer said we need to be talking about analytics. We're trying to attract younger listeners, but Sheil, why isn't Mike Zimmer winning more games? He's a defensive coach.
Yeah, the Vikings are snake bit, it seems, to start the season. I mean, I don't know if they're trying to give Mike Zimmer a heart attack or what, but it's been 3 months. This summer he's dealing with a quarterback who won't get vaccinated, who wants to live in a plexiglass sort of, I don't even know what you want to call it, closet, shield, globe, whatever. He wants to put that in the quarterback room. Mike Zimmer can't understand why his players, and specifically his quarterback, is making this decision. Then week 1, they lose in overtime to the Cincinnati Bengals. They have penalties on the first drive of the game. They have 12 penalties, I think, in that game. And now week 2, everything's looking up. They're in this hard-fought game. Kyler Murray's making incredible play after incredible play, but they drive. They get the ball. They're driving. They're down a point. Kirk Cousins is executing the offense well. No boneheaded plays. They get to within a 37-yard field goal. They're going to kick this thing right as time is running out. And Joseph, their kicker, pushes the ball right. Now, all of a sudden, they're 0-2. They're 0-2, and they've been outscored by 4 total points in the first 2 games. So I think it's just one of those things where the randomness is going against them. The luck is going against them. It's a long season. I'm not giving up on that team yet. But, man, if you're a Vikings fan, you come into the season, you're not really expecting that your team has a high ceiling. And now all of a sudden you're 2 games in, you're 0-2. I think there's some fans in Minnesota who just say, let's go tank this baby. Let's get a different quarterback next year and let's rebuild. But I think they're going to be too competitive to make that happen.
ZB, why don't you hit him with one more, and then we'll hear from a listener from the E-Bombs World Hotline.
Well, this question here, this is brought to you by Capadia Hats with locations throughout Philadelphia, Harrisburg, Baltimore, State College, and Seattle. Capadia Hats for the flattest brims around. No need to grade them on a curve. But a team that I'm wondering if you need to grade them on a curve, that's the Atlanta Falcons, right? Going into this year, I was wondering if this is a team that could be a sleeper team. The only thing they're doing is putting me asleep. Sheil, what's going on with the Atlanta Falcons?
I'm with you, ZB. I think we talked about the Falcons before the season. I thought there was a chance they could be a sneaky playoff team. I think even last week, you guys were very down on them after week 1. And I said, hold on, it's only 1 week. Let's see if they get it together. I'm coming around to your guys' side. And trust me, I do not like admitting to doing that. I mean, if you watch this game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we were just talking about in-game decision-making and 4th downs and analytics and all that stuff. They have a 4th and 1 on their first drive from the Tampa Bay 49. Arthur Smith sends, the punting unit out onto the field, tries to draw an offsides, doesn't get it. They take the 5-yard penalty and they punt. Very next possession. 4th and 2. This time they're on their own 45. He says, let's go ahead and go for it. Now, where's the consistency? I mean, these coaches, they spend hours. They sleep in their office. They love talking about how much film they watch. When it comes to the basics of in-game decision-making, there's no consistency there. You look at that Falcons offense, they have not completed a single pass that's gone at least 20 yards downfield in their first 2 games. I mean, I wish I loved anything as much as Arthur Smith loves Cordero Patterson. I mean, you've got to watch one of these Falcons games. Every other play, they are getting 30-year-old Cordero Patterson involved. If he keeps up this pace, he's going to have 179 touches this season. Cordero Patterson's career high for touches, the man is 30 years old, is 85. I mean, what are they doing in Atlanta? It started in the offseason. They keep Matt Ryan. They trade Julio Jones. They use their 4th pick on a tight end. They don't explore the quarterback market. And now you look at how they started their first 2 games. Man, if I'm a Falcons fan. Now, granted, they were in that game in the 4th quarter. Matt Ryan looks like, I don't want to say cooked or washed or any of those terms that the young kids use. He does not look like a quarterback who's capable of elevating the players around him. I think it could be a long, long season in Atlanta.
All right, Sheil, you've been the best. You already are the best. We got one more for you. We gave it up to the E-Bombs World Hotline, our voicemail box. We got a question for you from a fan.
What's up, dudes? This is Trey, certified member of the ZB Hive. Buzz. Here's my question. Who wins more games? All right, the Jets, but Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback, and Jason Garrett is the offensive coordinator, or the Rams, but Joe Flacco is the quarterback. Let me know what you guys think. Holla at your boy.
Trey, thank you for the call, my man. I mean, is that a serious question? Patrick Mahomes. Do you think Patrick Mahomes is going to listen to 2 things that Jason Garrett says? I mean, Patrick Mahomes wouldn't get 2 possessions in before he has someone in football ops disconnect Jason Garrett's headset. He would be making all the play calls. He would be designing the offense, and he would elevate that team. They would be competing for the NFC East with Patrick Mahomes. This is what happens when you have the best quarterback in the NFL. I mean, if you put Joe Flacco on that Rams team, what do you think? Sean McVay is a magician or something? That is not going to end well. They are not good enough to elevate a team with Joe Flacco. So thank you for the call, but Trey, come on, step it up next week. I look forward to hearing from you then.
All right. Sheil Kapadia. You can follow him on Twitter at Sheil Kapadia. You can read his stuff at The Athletic. He's the best. You know it. You love him. We'll be back on the other side.
Yeah, let me get my plugs in, Wolfman. Thank you for that.
Ahead.
How do you forget every week? I'm not getting paid for this. I hear about all these sponsors left and right. I'm bringing a large audience. You tell me it's going to be 15 minutes. I come on. It's all of a sudden we're 25 minutes later. You're giving me some stupid question from a guy named Trey. So I'm going to get some plugs in.
Take it easy.
Okay?
Take it easy.
You can read my takeaways, of course, on The Athletic. theathletic.com/birds with friends gets you 50% off. You can, of course, follow me on Twitter at Sheil Kapadia, Instagram at Sheil Kapadia. Of course, TikTok, we're going to get that started up. But, some random follower of your guys on Twitter was asking me about a fans only fan. I mean, I don't even know what that is. So no, you cannot find me on there. And no, I would not Google that at work. So thank you for having me. I look forward to answering some of your nonsense questions next week.
Well, ZB, this is very awkward. We're gonna have to get into this on the other side here on WBWF 6969. We will talk to Hank Fraley on the other side. You're listening to ZB and the Wolf. Oh, we're all trying to eat better, but healthy breakfast doesn't have to be boring. Magic Spoon has the amazing flavors you love, but without all the bad stuff. 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 net grams of carbs in each serving. Only 140 calories a serving. It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, and low-carb. Build your own box. Available flavors to build your very own custom bundle are cocoa, fruity, frosted, peanut butter, blueberry, cinnamon, cookies and cream, and maple waffle, my favorite. So, go to magicspoon.com/birds to grab a custom bundle of cereal and try it today. And be sure to use our promo code BIRDS at checkout to save $5 off your first order. Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they will refund your money, no questions asked. Remember, get your next delicious bowl of guilt-free cereal at magicspoon.com/birds and use the code BIRDS to save $5 off. Thank you, Magic Spoon, for sponsoring this episode. If there's only one thing in this entire world, this polarized world, that we can all agree on, it's probably that there should be some kind of buzzer when the game clock hits 0, right? So that there's none of this nonsense about they didn't snap the ball in time, but we gave them some extra leeway. It's ridiculous. But if there are two things that we can agree on, it's the thing about the game clock and that your online checking account shouldn't cost you money. That's why Chime, an award-winning app and debit card, has no overdraft fees, foreign transaction fees, monthly service fees, or transfer fees. No hidden fees with this bad boy. They have over 60,000 fee-free in-network ATMs at locations like Walgreens, 7-Eleven, CVS, and more. That's more than the top 3 national banks combined. You can also send money to anyone, even if they aren't on Chime. No fees for you, no cash-out fees for them. It's time to say goodbye to hidden fees. Aloha, hidden fees. Au revoir. Join the millions of Americans already loving Chime. Sign up only takes 2 minutes and doesn't affect your credit score. Get started today at chime.com, chime.com/BWF. That's chime.com/BWF. All right, we're back on Birds with Friends. Make sure that you are liking the videos, subscribing on the channel, all that good stuff. Make sure you're leaving reviews on Apple Podcasts that say something other than Bo, stop interrupting Zach. And we'll be ready to talk some defense here in a minute. Sheil, you look like you have something to say.
Well, someone made the point that is spot on, that during that segment, I don't know whether to be myself or in character, and I feel like incredibly left out, not getting to be in character. Like I just put on a different hat and shirt just because I wanted to feel something, like I just did something, and now I'm doing.
Maybe we can give you. What would you like to be the update guy? That way you can be yourself in the segment, but then you can have a separate role.
Maybe I can pre-record something and send it to Marissa or something. All right, I like something like that.
Okay, that
could work. Although again, that sounds like a little work for me, which I'm not really on board with that. And also, we'll see. That you guys knocked it out of the park again. ZB is just at home.
Totally at home.
So I don't want to jinx it, but I would be in favor of just doing that, making the podcast just that segment a couple times a week and not doing anything else.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, you want to overexpose it.
That's true.
I was at the playground the other day with the kids, and we met a family that was like their child is in the baby room with Jane, and we're talking like, they just moved, where'd you move from? Like, how do you like the place? and like we're talking about jobs. You know, I say I work for the Eagles, and he's like, "Oh, wait a second, you missed your question on the press conference today." Like, oh yeah, that's me. That's what I'm known for, baby. That's all I'm good for. So there you go.
Wait, so they were listening to the press conference?
They must have, yeah. They were listening to the press conference earlier in the day, and at the end of the press conference, after I had already asked my question, I got called on one more time. When I thought that it was over, there were no more questions, and I had nothing to say.
ZB, how do we not have audio of this?
I did mean to send the audio to Marissa, but
okay. Next time.
And Jeff McClain wanted in. He wanted Bo's question.
He should have.
Right?
He should have jumped in.
Yeah, so he jumped in saying, "I'll take it," and then
I said, "Go ahead."
Oh, so he didn't get it?
No, he didn't get it. They had that spot reserved for Bo. Bo was the only one they were going to let.
Yeah, but they said one more question to Mike, and so it was over. There were no more questions, and so when she said, "Oh, okay, one more for Bo," I was totally caught off guard.
You got to be ready.
Bad job.
I look forward to hearing this audio.
I gotta get in the lab and work on that. All right, let's talk about the defense, Sheil. Unlike the offense, where they're still trying to figure out what their identity is, at least while Brandon Graham was playing, they have an identity. Second highest percentage of zone coverage in the league, almost 90%. Second fewest second smallest, least blitz rate in the league, just about 8%. And no big plays given up. They gave up 2 in this game, a 21-yard run by JaMychal Hasty in the fourth quarter, and then the Deebo Samuel play at the end of the first half, which was a huge play. But that's the fewest amount of big plays given up in the league. So they are sticking to their bend but don't break principles. What did you make of how everything looked to you?
8 snaps of man coverage through 2 games. Like, I thought that was impossible, but you are kind of, you're seeing a lot of teams kind of play a different way this year. It's, we'll see what it looks like 6, 7, 8 weeks into the season. But yeah, you're absolutely right. You nailed it there with what their identity is. I mean, they played really well. They give up 17 points. They forced 3 and outs on the first 3 possessions. They forced punts on the first 4 possessions. There are going to be annoying drives as a fan where you're watching it saying, get a stop. This is like play 13 of the drive, but it's absolutely a smart way to play. And in my opinion, it's the right way to play in 2021. So in terms of individual performances, I mean, I thought, was this Javon Hargrave's best game as an Eagle?
Did you think so? I mean, he was really good in week 1.
I thought he was unbelievable. I mean, he was basically killing every drive. I mean, the first drive, tackle for loss, and that Niners team.
Yeah, they complained. Shanahan complained that he jumped the snap on that first snap of the game.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. I didn't see that. That's like one of my favorite type of plays to watch. Right?
Oh, the guy totally guesses right.
He smokes the guy and just crushes the running back. So tackle for loss, second possession, another tackle for loss. Third possession, he hits Garoppolo on 3rd down. I mean, he was wrecking them for the first 3 possessions of the game, and it didn't stop there. I mean, he played well throughout, playing hard, hustling, run, pass, everything. So, yeah, I haven't gone back and graded every single one of Javon Hargrave's games as a pro.
Well, you were killing him last year.
Well, yeah, he wasn't playing well.
Okay.
I did the caveat for every one of those where I said, listen, I don't know. I don't know if he's injured or not. He had this injury in the summer.
I don't know. You turned it on pretty thick.
I was
by
telling
about midseason.
When a guy's stats are like, no sacks, 1 hit and 2 tackles through 8 games, and you signed him to $13 million, somebody has to losing Marissa. Somebody has to call that out. Not everyone's drinking the Atlanta Kool-Aid, as you are. So that was certainly, one thing that stood out. This Jannard Avery role is like interesting to me. He had 7 tackles. There were plays.
Yeah, he was more active in this game. But
how many times do you think Jannard Avery has rushed the passer through 2 games? Have you looked this up or not?
No, I haven't.
I did not look.
All right, what are your guesses? I looked this up before.
Oh, you did look it up.
Gosh, I do so much prep. I'm an amazing co-host.
Like percentage of his snaps or percentage of snaps?
No, just how many times have they said go forward and get the quarterback on a pass play?
13.
12.
4 times. Is that incredible?
But he's also not like dropping in coverage that often.
No, he is. He's dropping a lot. At least in this game, he was. I mean, there was one play. I don't know if he was confused or what. I would like to send it to Coach Flynn or somebody, but it seemed like everyone's playing cover. They're asking him like these really, I think, challenging like coverage plays where he's on the line of scrimmage, threatening to blitz or like, on the edge or in the A gap. And then he's got to get back to his, zone coverage responsibilities. There was this play. They were in cover 2. I think it was a 11-yard completion or something where he's on the right edge. And then he just like stopped. I don't know if he forgot what he was supposed to do, if he thought he heard a whistle or what. And then he realized he's got to drop. He's the only person, among the 5 underneath defenders in cover 2. He's the only person not there, like not even close. And they just throw a completion right there. He's got his hands on his hips after the play and he asks out of the game. So I don't know if he was like gassed or what. I would love to know what was happening there. But like for a guy who probably just wants to make his living, it's like a situational pass rusher. That is not what he's doing in this defense. And to me, it's almost like looking ahead, like they need sort of like an athlete, like they need to invest a resource in that spot. It feels like to me.
They need Marcus Smith.
Yeah. Exactly. I was thinking like Micah Parsons. I mean, you probably wouldn't want to. It'd probably be a waste of Micah Parsons in that role. But you're right, Marcus Smith is you're absolutely right about that. If he just had to do that and drop the zone and not think too much and not rush the passer, he would have been good at that. So that was definitely something that stood out to me. The 40-yard catch and run, I thought it was cover 3 where Eric Wilson lets Deebo Samuel get behind him. And then Kayvon Wallace just takes a bad angle. He was the middle of the field safety there, and he doesn't bring him down. And then Singleton misses a tackle. I mean, that's a huge play, because if they would have just held him to a field goal even there, you can live with that. I mean, they were really taking their time moving the ball down the field. And so that was obviously a huge play. And the touchdown, I think Steven Nelson got a little bit nosy there with George Kittle running the route to his left, abandoning his responsibilities. And then Juwan Johnson catches the touchdown. So that's like a 2-play sequence that really just swings the game there.
Totally.
In favor of the 49ers. So that stood out. I thought Zach was, warranted with his sort of Derek Barnett criticism during the post-game pod. I mean, my issue is that, it's not like if you get that penalty, if you get a penalty while you're sacking the quarterback, fine. We all know it's tough. Your, aggressiveness is taking over. Like there was just no reason. Like, what do you do? It's a cheap shot too. I mean, the guy's not even looking and you just nail him for no reason. It's a huge play in the game. I mean, I'm trying to look at my,
it would have been 3rd and 15.
Right.
Exactly.
3rd and 15.
Yes,
they're down 11.
3rd and 15 from their own, what would it have been? Their own
27-yard line, I believe.
27. Instead, it's 1st and 10 from their own 42. And it would have been 3rd and 15 from their own 27 versus 1st and 10 from their own 42. I mean,
and they had all 3 timeouts still too.
Yeah,
right?
And
because
the game
they had to use their timeouts.
Like that's a huge play. Now, if you would have told me, all right, well, forgive what you got to cut Barnett some slack. He was all over the field. I mean, I didn't notice Barnett doing anything in that game. Did you?
No.
I mean, he was mostly invisible. He had 3 tackles, no quarterback hits, no sacks. He had, on the season, he's got 1 hit and 2 quarterback pressures on 38 pass rushing opportunities. And he
wasn't good over the summer. He was very quiet during training camp.
It's just like with every player, you just say, what do you live with? What don't you live with? And it's sort of like, all right, if a guy's tearing it up on every other snap and he makes these boneheaded penalties, then it's like, all right, I guess you could live with that. But he's been like a solid starter, nothing more than that. And then you have a key spot in the game, in a close game, a low scoring game, and it's just completely unnecessary. It's not like an instinctual, like the Kayvon Wallace thing, that you can kind of live with. It's a bang bang play. It happens. You can't crush a guy for that. That's not like what this was at all. I mean, it's just a blindside shot on a guy, and it's really impactful in terms of the game. So
one of the commenters says Barnett flew in the air once for no reason, and that's true. It's a very funny that happened once in the game. Like he tried to like jump the line of scrimmage and just got his legs taken out. It was very funny. The one thing I was going to say about the Barnett penalty, like 2 plays earlier, 49ers guy gets in a shoving match with Anthony Harris and like really shoves Anthony Harris right in front of the ref, and the ref tries to break it up, doesn't throw a flag. I think that preceded the Barnett thing. I think if that hadn't, they might have let the Barnett penalty go. Go ahead.
Let that penalty go? No.
I think so.
There's no scenario where that penalty gets like. What are you talking about? It's a blindside shot on a guy right in front of the 49ers sideline. That gets called every single time. There couldn't be a more blatant penalty.
So I know some of our viewers and listeners that tune into the press conference, right? And so I did ask Sirianni about it, and the reason is not to like belabor the Barnett point, but
you're trying to bury the guy.
No, it's not that. I just want to take 30 seconds to explain this, especially early in the season. I'm trying to use my questions to learn more about Sirianni, right, and how he's going to coach the team. So in a lot of my questions last week, and then you'll see this week, like I'm asking Sirianni's thought process, his messaging, and what I wanted to learn is when something like this happens, how does Sirianni address it? What's his level of tolerance, if you will, for these plays? And he says, they hold the players accountable. Accountability is a big thing. I imagine a lot of it's done behind closed doors. He doesn't seem like the kind of guy who, but for instance, Mike Vrabel went hard at Julio Jones after week 1, right? And he publicly criticized Julio Jones and said that he would not tell Julio something that he didn't, or he would not say something publicly that he does not tell Julio privately, but it was very clear he was trying to send a message. I was curious to see if Sirianni did that, and Sirianni did not take that approach publicly.
I actually don't have a big I actually don't even think it's that's coaching. I feel like if your whole team's doing that, if you lead the league in those penalties, then it's coaching. I mean, Barnett's in his 5th year in the NFL.
It's not Nick Sirianni's
He's played
fault,
with veterans. I mean, he's played with Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham, like the best Eagles of this era. He's been in the room with them. He played with a no nonsense. I don't know if Jim Schwartz on the side was saying like, it's all good. Like, go ahead and let it rip on those.
But that was the knock on Schwartz. Yeah, but that was the knock on Schwartz's teams, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, he did not like talking about that topic at all when you talked about discipline. So it's like he's in his 5th year in the league. And again, it's if he's playing well enough to, and that happens once in a while, that's fine. But it's a small sample, but certainly in 2 games, he has not played well enough where you should be doing that. And you shouldn't be doing that. I mean, come on. So
I have one other defensive question for you. Eric Wilson. So he basically gets demoted in this game.
Explain to me. I'm watching it, but I'm not. What is the linebacker like? What are the roles? Because I know they're going to ask me about this on WIP tomorrow, and I'm basically going to have to tell them whatever you tell me now.
Changed. So week 1, it's Eric Wilson and TJ Edwards in base.
Okay. And
Eric Wilson and Alex Singleton in nickel. Halfway through the game, Eric Wilson gets yanked in favor of Sean Bradley in base. So it becomes Wilson and Singleton in nickel, Bradley and Edwards in base. This second game, they come out, it's Singleton and Edwards in base. So Eric Wilson has been officially yanked from the base defense. And then it's Singleton and Wilson again in nickel. Halfway through the game, Davion Taylor goes in for Singleton in the base. And I think that was less of a replacement and more like we want to get Davion Taylor involved. We want to get him snaps. And I actually thought he was fine.
Yeah, I thought he had some moments.
For the most part. But so Eric Wilson right now is just a nickel linebacker. And I mean, I'm not seeing it from the guy. I mean, I don't know.
So this is what I was going to say is that sometimes like the league does know, right? And so when you're wondering why a 26-year-old linebacker is getting a 1-year, $2.75 million contract,
right?
Almost a month into free agency when like we were talking about him on our free agency show as this is the kind of player they should target. This is a guy who could fit. He's an ascending player. Last year was his first time with meaningful playing time. And then when they signed him to the contract, I think all of us were like, this seems like a good deal for a guy that age who's an ascending player. Yeah. It seems that the league might have known something for him to be valued that way because he has not shown it so far. Now it is only 2 games. We'll see what happens. Maybe it's a matter of getting comfortable, but it hasn't worked so far.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good last year. You know, like, I mean, you can't really judge linebackers by the numbers, but if nothing else, he filled up the stat sheet and was a playmaker, whether it was sacks, forced turnovers. Yeah, didn't he have like over 100 tackles? I mean, well, yeah, you are right though, Zach. I mean, Mike Zimmer is willing to overpay any defensive player he wants. And so that should have been a little bit of a sign.
Well, Anthony Harris too.
Yeah, although they did tag Anthony Harris. Yeah,
I just mean, yeah.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, on that 40-yard Debo catch, I mean, I don't know if it's all on Wilson, but
that was to be fair, that was a pretty tight window. That was his best throw of the day, I thought.
Now, I was wondering that, and I guess it was third down, but like it is the end of the half. Like you should be playing pretty conservative there, and for guys. But I don't know, maybe
By the way, did you notice Alex Singleton getting a little salty in the post game, Zach, when he was asked about that last? You asked the question and what happened on the play. He's
about what? Which play?
If you know anything about, well, it was the end of the game. They have that 2nd and 9, and they throw the 8-yard pass to Juszczyk to set up the 3rd and 1 that ends the game. And it's it's in front of Singleton. And Zach asked very innocently what happened on that play, and he's like, I mean, if you know anything about football, you know the rules are you play high to low. Like I had to worry about the guy behind me before I could worry about the guy in front of me.
I think he thought that I was using the question to criticize the fact that they allowed a completion there.
Right, you were just asking literally what happened on the play.
Exactly, because as I was putting together a story, I was thinking of stories, I wanted to think of key plays, just get his perspective there, right? And if you force an incompletion there or something like that, then it's what, a 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 7. So
that would have been huge.
Yeah. I was not getting on. I don't think Singleton played that incorrectly. I was just trying to get his perspective of what happened on that play.
Yeah. I think they could have probably called something to put him in a better position on that play. Anyway, anything else to get off your chest on the defense, Sheil?
No, I mean, Wilson was, he got pancaked once by George Kittle. I think that clip's going around on the big 21-yard Jermichael Hasty run. Teron Jackson gets blocked by a fullback. Wilson can't get off his block. Singleton sort of got manhandled there by an offensive lineman. And that, it was really just like a handful. It was probably like 3 plays. The Hasty run, the Deebo Samuel 40-yarder, and then those 2 penalties where you get Barnett and Kayvon Wallace, and they go from their own 35 to the other 35, and that one too. Yeah, 3 penalties. You're right. That was just man coverage. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. It was a bad penalty at a bad time.
I mean, it was more impactful on the outcome of the game than the Barnett penalty.
Yes, because they would have had to kick a field goal. I mean, it was a guaranteed 4-point penalty. Yep.
But yeah, I'm looking at my notes too to see if there's anything else, but I think we've mostly covered it. Hargrave. There's another play where Hargrave gets blatantly held. He really was he was wrecking the game.
Yeah,
you're right. All right. So we've decided that we are not going to postpone this. We're not going to change our schedule just because the Eagles have a changed schedule. We're
ready to move on, baby. We're not
going to adjust our game plan to stop what they do well. We're going to stick with what we do well and make them react.
Except next week. We'll probably adjust next week.
Next week we'll probably.
How much do you know about how much Eagles fans hate the Dallas Cowboys?
I'll say this. This is an interesting note.
Well, it's good. Right? It's a good back-to-back because last week we got what's it going to be like to play in front of the fans for the first time. Now we're going to get
what's it going to be like?
So I can tell you what Sirianni's answer is going to be. Okay? They have a rivalry board in the team facility, right, where they have moments from Eagles history against their different rivals. And Sirianni wants to emphasize rivalries. And so they have a rivalry board that players see every day. And so I imagine he'll incorporate that into his answer when he gets asked it.
I think he might say, one of the things I did, guys, when I took this job is I sort of called around to guys who know. And one of the people I talked to was Andy Reid. I thought he'd have some really good advice to give me. And he told me that in his first year, he was going out to get a cheeseburger one morning. And the guy told him, Andy, you can lose 15 games as long as you beat the Cow. I guess you could lose 14 games as long as you beat the Cowboys twice. That's all we care about. So that's what I know about this rivalry. Remember Andy used to always tell that story?
I mean, I didn't know it as well as you apparently did there, but yeah.
So there you go. So we will be back Thursday at 3:30 for our live show, but obviously you can listen whenever. We'll talk about a very big game. I mean, the way the schedule sets up, this game is pretty enormous. So we'll get into it. Different test, much more challenging test for the defense. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Anything else you want to say, Zach?
There's a lot I want to say, but nothing I need to say at 9:30 at night here. So, no, we're good. I'll just say this, and on the topic of all of us being tired, if the Eagles lose a lot of games this year, I fear for Nick Sirianni's health, man, because he was exhausted.
He looked rough.
This is not and I say this almost as a compliment. This is not a guy who all right, you lose a game, he flushes it away. He is I
think it's more he needs to sleep.
But that's what I'm saying. He was grinding that tape on Sunday night, Monday morning, right? He wore that loss. He felt it. So for Nick Sirianni's sleeping schedule, I think they need to win some games.
What is that shirt you're wearing, Sheil? Barkley? Nice. Respect.
I had to change out of my radio guest outfit.
Pants? Oh, okay.
Yeah. No,
All
I'm
right.
not wearing pants.
As you shouldn't. All right. That'll do it for this episode of Birds with Friends. For Marissa and Zach and Sheil, for Trey from Pasadena, I'm Bo. Thanks for listening. And as always, we love you.